let's move. Let's get our first speaker onto the platform. He is here with us. Just quickly getting his bio. All right. Our first speaker is Inga Gubeka. He's the founder and creative director of Inga Atelier, a contemporary lifestyle brand that makes unique luxury leather goods. Have any of you seen the product? Yes. Brilliant. It's world class. It just says something about you when you're walking with that bag. Yeah? He is here with us. So Inga, he describes his bags to Business Insider SA as a fusion of African luxury and Scandinavian design elements, particularly the letters, clean lines, attention to detail, and simplicity. Inga studied interior designing at Durban University of Technology and founded his first company, Indalo Deco, in 2012. He's young, he's creative. He also spoke at the One Young World Summit. Right, in 2016, Forbes named him on their list of the top 30 Africans under 30. He recently was a speaker. This is it. He was a speaker at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. And in collaboration with APSA, he gave away bags to 120 attending dignitaries, including the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, and Public Enterprise Minister, Pravin Gordhan. He is here with us to share his story, how he's building his brand, and how he's taking his creativity of his brand and his business to a whole new level. So ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy as I welcome onto stage the one and only Kupari Emenkamontu. Please, let's get up on our feet. Let's show some love. Let's celebrate this young and creative entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Inga Gubeka. Please watch me for time. Yeah, easy. Asking questions. Yeah, I'm gonna ask questions. All right. It's happening. Hey, this is real, my man. My brother, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. So, for those people who don't know who Inga is, who is he? When did that entrepreneurship bug bite you?
Inga Gubeka is a boy from a small village in the Eastern Cape called Ingaleni. I've always known that I'm a designer, just that I didn't know it. And I've also known that I'm an entrepreneur, but I also didn't know it, because growing up in Gautenh, I used to build cars, wire cars, and actually sell them. But I didn't know that's called entrepreneurship, or that's being an entrepreneur. I used to play with clay and build cows, like with clay and so forth, and actually sold those, exchanged them for money. I think that's where my entrepreneurship journey began, but I just didn't know it at the time.
So you were an entrepreneur, but you didn't know that you're an entrepreneur. I think we've all been there. Yeah? You're solving a problem, we are paisa, but it's just the formality side of it, right? You're making money and you're solving a problem, but you're an entrepreneur, but you don't know that you're an entrepreneur. Wow. All right, so how do you then move from not knowing that you're an entrepreneur to being an entrepreneur? Just take me through the journey.
Yeah. So after I lived in Ngaleni, I had an opportunity to go live with my grandfather in Durban. And when I got there was too many culture shocks, First of all, I'm in Xhosa, and I'm in Durban, so I can't speak Zulu. I could only speak Xhosa. And when I got there, I now went to a white school. I also couldn't speak English either. So I remember at school where I was at in Durban, they used to bring another guy who spoke a little bit of Xhosa to come, translate for me, because the Zulu guys also couldn't translate properly for me in English. While in Durban, I used to watch a lot of Top Billing, because now we're exposed to things like TV and all of that kind of stuff. Then I said to myself, I actually want to become like these guys who do this, which is design. That's where my design passion started, and realizing that actually I want to become a designer.
So he speaks about exposure, which is so key for entrepreneurs, right? Because you can only grow further than what you've been exposed to. So you're watching Top Billing and you're like, that's what I want to do. I want to design. Now, entrepreneurs are sitting here and saying, yeah, I've also been in that situation where I've looked at something and said, I want to do it. But there is this internal battle in my mind. I'm not good enough. But somebody else is already doing it. How am I going to get there? How did you overcome those internal battles? We all have them when we're starting off. Is it going to work? How did you overcome those internal voices that said you couldn't do it, or you're too young, or you can't speak English?
In my case, I had a supportive grandfather, who was exposed to things, For instance, he was in the media space. He was a journalist, and he understood art. So he's actually the one who encouraged me to pursue what I want to pursue, in as far as art. Because I remember from there, I went to go study at DUT after high school. So I had like that sense of, support. Whereas when I go back to the Eastern Cape for holidays, my grandmother would ask me, what is this design, that you are studying? What is it? Then I'll try and explain to her. So I explained to my grandmother all the way until now that I'm old, now that I've got a business, that I can show her the bags, that this is what I designed. And then only later, she said, oh, so all this time, she didn't know what I do and what I study. As far as she knows, it's all about studying, teaching, law, being a nurse and all of that. Those are the only professions that she's exposed to. So in my case, I'm really thankful, that I had a good support, which was my grandfather in this case, who was also like a voice of reasoning and affirming that I can do this.
And what about your circle? You are entering into a market or a business that's unfamiliar. Not a lot of people are doing it. And I'm sure at that time you had friends who were saying, maybe they didn't say it, but you could see by the facial expressions that no. We don't really support, or we don't understand what you're doing. How did you deal with that? Because we all have, I think, a circle sometimes around us of people who want to support us, but they're not sure what we're trying to do. Some who just don't want to support us, but we also don't want to lose them. How do you deal with that circle of negativity, or with people who don't understand what you're trying to do? Because, that can be discouraging.
Yeah, 100%. When I entered the world of design, we're at a point as a country where artists were known to be broke. As in, you didn't make a living out of being an artist. So when I entered the market, that was the perception. As a result, like most of my friends, they're either advocates, they're either lawyers, they're either like doctors, accountants and all of that, But I do have another circle of friends who are designers, who I went to varsity with and all of that. But it's such a discouraging thing, like when your friends tell you that, maybe you shouldn't have studied this, maybe you should have studied accounting, maybe you should have studied, and even yourself, when you're starting out, you can see that they are living up, they now have cars, and you're still like trying to make a living out of this art thing that you're doing, out of this design thing that you're doing.
Yeah, it's tough, huh? Your business, like many businesses here, people say, yeah, but you must just follow your passion. But sometimes the passion needs the money.
Yep.
You can't start this. You need the money. Like a machine is not gonna. Your passion is not gonna get you the machine. Yeah. You need the finances. You need the material.
100%.
How did you get the finances? Is there an institution that you went to? How did you get the capital to start your business? Because you needed it.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
So when I started my second business, after I left Indal, after I started Inga Atelier, I got my support from my friends.
Wait, what happened to the first one?
I had a fallout with my business partners, and then I resigned as a shareholder, and I left the company.
Let's talk about the fallout. What happened?
We're not agreeing with the direction of the business.
Ah.
I mean, the business was focusing on designing bespoke pieces for commissions, and we had another arm of the business which was like more like retail, where we were making like wooden bags and so forth. So that's what the business was doing. But now I found myself in a position where the money was coming in, but I didn't have like a role anymore to do in the business, because we are disagreeing about the direction of the business. I want to create more products and more product line, and I'm not given the chance to create, and I'm a designer, and I was getting frustrated amongst the things. Another one, when the money started coming in, my partner started like just going in at it, you know, and it was no longer safe for me to be part of the company. So I resigned and I ceded my shares, and yeah, that's how I left.
All right.
A company that I started, by the way, from scratch.
You started this company. You start
100%.
the company, then you leave it.
Yep.
Yo.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes you gotta leave something
Sure.
if it no longer serves a purpose for you. You gotta let it go.
Sure.
You have to let it go.
Now on to that question. The financing, the capital for the second one. Inyuku uyithole kanjani?
Through help of my friends, you know, who have seen what I've done at Indalo Deco. And now I started, I had an idea of starting Inga Atelier. They started funding me, my friends, with money. Luckily.
Okay. Nimzweli. Ati my friends with money. So ngiyacabanga ukuthi laba engibloma nabo enhle man.
And by the way, they didn't want anything.
They didn't want anything. My friends with money.
Yeah.
Hey. Ngiyabhekana manje ukuthi ay Brian ngathi wena ngizokushiya wena. That's so but what I'm picking out from this, and thank you for sharing, is that his friends abangani bakhe had already seen what he can produce. Ukuthi bamgaye leyo nyoko. Right? It wasn't just, no, I've got an idea, there's something I want to start, I need money. He was already doing something which they had seen. Ne? Then they were able to take out money and help him build his business, which is very powerful. Okay, I'm just going to throw the questions and I'm going to open it up, because me, I like the deep questions. When do you make your first million?
When the year?
Yeah.
2015.
Ako pa kami siya piling matsohong. So we want to come here and not just share practical and inspiration. Nang umuntu has made it, right? This person has made it. Not just inspiration. We all want to make money. We want to make that first million. Now I'll ask this question. What are the three things, Inga, that you think you did consistently that made you get that first million?
I think focus, number one. I know a lot of people can disagree with me when I say this. I believe that when you are running a business, you can't be all over the show. You know, like you are in cooking, I'm doing the kitchens, I'm doing, you know, I'm everywhere. Because one business alone, it takes so much time, you know, and so much effort, you know. You can't be everywhere. If you know, like you are there, you know, and now you neglect your company. So you need to really focus, you know, on your company, build it so that you're able to see a lot of other things within that business. You give it the attention it needs. So I think that is very important, you know, like when you're running a business, and not, you know, be all over the show. You know, like you're in catering, you are busy with construction. You know, you can't grow like that. You need to grow this baby and look at it from every different angle, you know, and just keep your passion and focus on this baby that you are building.
The second thing that you did. How did you manage that million?
I built my grandmother a house, bought some nice clothes. It was nice, you know, I had a nice car. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did.
That's what you did. So we'll get on to the innovation, and I'm gonna open it up. Because I interact with a lot of young people who are running businesses, and sometimes, really, when you start that business, so there's two areas. One, you build the business to fund your lifestyle. And that's what I did. And that's what some of the entrepreneurs that I interact with, honestly. So because I've got a lifestyle, but I'm building this business so that I've got money.
Yeah.
So I don't have that long-term vision, right? And secondly, I'm building this business so that I can just maintain, even if it's not just a lifestyle. How do you scale to take your business to a whole new level? Because you sit in here and say, yeah, but I'm making the 5. I want to get to the 10. I want to get to the 15. I want to get to the 150. How do I scale?
Scaling up a business is it's a very difficult thing to do, because number one, you need to scale up with sales. Let's just start there.
Scale up with sales.
Sales is the key, you know. But the cost of acquiring those sales is what makes it difficult, and it's a very expensive exercise. So in our case, the main focus in my business has always been exporting this brand, you know, abroad. It's always been the vision, and it's on those bases that I founded Inga Atelier. The reason why I'm doing this, or what I'm doing, Inga Atelier, is because we want to be one of the first African brands to compete on a global scale with the likes of Louis Vuitton, with the likes of Goyard, with the likes of Chanel, and and all the brands. In South Africa, we have Louis Vuitton here in Sandton and V&A, but we don't have a South African brand in Paris, let alone black-owned. We don't have a South African brand that's got a store in Paris. Now, it brings me to my passion. I've got a passion to build this brand to a level whereby we, as South Africans, we can all be proud of. The same way the French are proud of their brands like Louis Vuitton. So Inga Atelier, I want it to be a brand that we as South Africans, we can be proud of. And I want to open a store in Paris if Louis Vuitton can open a store in Sandton.
Please repeat that again for those who didn't hear it.
If Louis Vuitton can open a store in Sandton and V&A, I'm definitely opening a store in France, in Paris.
Wow. So before I open it up to the audience, I'm just going to take a couple of questions. We have young people, young entrepreneurs, running companies, running businesses, and we're speaking about creativity, right? So, I mean, you drive through the township, la baba tengisikota, na la baba tengisikota, na la baba tengisikota, na la baba tengisikota. Lo tengisikatulo, na lo tengisikatulo, na lo tengisikatulo. We're speaking about creativity. What do you do to get into that creative space, and how do you become creative so you can take your brand to a new level? So how do you help someone create a unique selling point? So I'm also creating bags, but you're also creating bags. Creativity, how do I get that creative juice flowing? And what do I do? Because sometimes you're sitting there and you just hit a mind block, like you don't know where to take the brand, how to be more creative. What's your advice to young people?
So, in my case, first and foremost, I believe that when you're running an entrepreneur, you need to identify a key area in which you are a specialist in. You can't be everything in your business. You can't be an accountant and be submitting tax returns at the same time and be sending invoices. You can't be everything in your business. So in my case, I assembled a team because I know that my stronghold is design and creativity and so forth. So I've got a business developer, I've got an MD in the company. My role is just to design. That's my main focus. Nothing else. And strategize in terms of how best to take this brand forward. But discuss that with the specialists within my business, who specialize in the things that I need and require. For my PR, I've got a PR agency that manages all my PR stuff for all media inquiries and so forth. So the point I'm trying to make is that my main focus is business. I've got all the time in the world to design and to be creative. That's what helps me.
Well, all right, so I'm going to open the floor for questions. I've got Seko there at the back. Where is the mic? We don't have a mic. All right, so we'll use this one. All right. Can I see who else wants, who's got a question? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You 6, please come to the front quickly. 6, come to the front. Those of you who have got questions. So for time, I think we've got just about another 5 minutes. We'll shoot 3. Inga, you will answer, yeah? And then we'll shoot another 3. We're doing this so that also, you know, we've got people who are tuning in live on Facebook. We don't want the, you know, the camera to be moving too much. All right, so we'll start with you, my brother. When you ask the question, just come and stand here and address it to Inga. All right, over to you. You'll go sanitize and check.
Thanks, my brother.
And please, let's just get straight to the point, yeah? Cool.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Inga. Thank you for the great story, man. It's very inspirational. My name is Lebogang Lebepe. I'm the founder and CEO of Bez House. It's a property development and investment company. So my question is very simple, right? But as well is very difficult at the same time is how do you, when you scale your business, how do you now also ensure that you build the brand relevance, brand presence and brand alignment in order for you to be able to scale and grow your business?
Sorry, what's the exact question? Sorry, I didn't get the exact question.
So the question is, how do you build the brand awareness, brand relevance, and also obviously brand alignment in order for you to speak to the audience that you actually want to, your target market that you actually want to talk to?
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends, obviously, what business you're in. You know, whether you are in a business-to-business type of business or like products, you know, like a consumer, you know, like type of business. But interestingly enough, right now we live in a digital age. You know, marketing has become very easier. You know, not easier, but it's less difficult. You know, so to say. I mean, for instance, if you are a business to business, you know, like there's platforms like LinkedIn, you know, like there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's all sorts of things like that. So in my case, I think, you know, social media has helped us a lot within our business in terms of reaching our audience, you know, especially like with the American market, you know, which is our highest seller at the moment, where biggest market is. We've accessed that market through social media, you know. So I think it's a very powerful thing if used wisely. I'm not sure if people follow me. Like on my Twitter, I don't tweet about anything much but business and my business, you know. So I think that's very important. You just need to explore social media and see what works for your business and what messaging you're using and what tone you're using to who.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Exciting news that was shared by one of the founders is you speaking about social media. So, T has partnered up with Facebook. We are going to be doing a digital session to help entrepreneurs better position their brands on the social platforms so that they can reach more and make more money and more clients and more brand awareness. Koparishapeling TV, Facebook, Mats Oho. All right, let's shoot.
Hi everyone. Hi Inga. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today. My question is more along the lines of creativity. You spoke very well about creativity and how you've had people help you with your creativity. But I want to know how much of your answers, or in terms of creativity, come from spirituality. So vision boards, praying, spirituality. How do you connect spiritually, and are you spiritually connected? Thank you.
Stick another one. Sorry.
Oh. Okay. So, quite frankly, I don't go to church. I don't pray. I'm not a religious person, you know. I mean, some of the richest guys are not even religious, you know. So, I mean, I don't pray, but I do definitely do believe on the higher power, definitely, you know. I do meditate. Not much of my design comes from, you know, spirituality or anything like that. But I do wake up in the morning and meditate at times when I feel like it. Yeah, but I do believe in the power of the universe. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Hi, thank you so much for being here, and thank you to everyone for actually being here. When you were speaking, you spoke about the power of focus and getting people that are specialists to work with you in your business. You may find that some of us, we are still in the beginning stages of our businesses, and we cannot afford to be able to pay someone to come and give us services of whatever they specialize into our business. I understand. As a result, that may even be a barrier to actually grow our business. So my question to you is actually, how do you then develop a relationship with people who are specialists to come and give you their services while you still don't have money at the given time?
Yeah. Well, you know, for a startup, you know, that can afford to pay people those services, perhaps what you can do is, you know, give like some sort of maybe profit shares, you know, have an agreement that this term, for it, or end your financial year, you're going to give 15%, you know, like of your turnover, like just to make it up to them. But if like you want to commit for a long term and it's a skill that you really need to take your business forward, you can perhaps discuss, you know, like a stake in the business, you know, so that if you are a designer, for instance, you know, you get someone who's good in admin, you know, who can drive the admin of the business, because the admin of the business is where the heart of the business is. If you get your admin wrong, you're out. You can have like a billion rands turnover, but if your admin is not done right, that billion means nothing, because you won't even know what's happening with it or where it went. You need a very good admin person, you know, to run and drive this company, to make sure that, you know, your financials are in order, the business is functioning well, your strategies are executed well, and so forth. So you might want to, like, you know, give a little bit of a piece, you know, like to that person that you think is a valuable asset to your business going forward and long term.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Inga.
Hi, how are you?
I was actually going to ask a similar question as the guy in front of me. But I want to find out from you, because I actually met you in Cape Town. I think it was like 2012. I don't know if you were studying that side or you were actually...
I was starting out.
Studying.
No, starting
Oh,
out.
you were starting out.
Yeah.
And I want to know in terms of like the stages, because when you were speaking, you're speaking about how important it is for you in your business to just focus on just designing. When did you move from a startup stage where you pretty much design, chase the clients, post your own work, do all your admin work for your company, to a point where you're like, you know what, I cannot do this anymore. I need to get specialists. I need to hire someone that is mainly gonna focus on this in my company. When do you realize as an entrepreneur, now I need to shift from just doing everything to the things that you need to do in your company?
So the first phase, you know, like it's coming up with a product, you know? So that means that's when now I'm by myself. I'm creating, mastering the product and so forth. Once I've got the product, now I need someone with different expertise to take this product to the level that I want it to be. So with, in my case at Indalo, for instance, I had to bring in one of my best friends whom I had a fallout with, you know, because he was my partner, to market this product for me in Joburg. And he then brought his sister, who invested about $1 million in the business, so that some of her resources can be shared with Indalo. So she had a group of companies, and she absorbed Indalo as one of the companies underneath the company. So that means we had access to marketing person, we had access to an accounting person, we had access to an admin person, and again, I was just a designer. So like, that's how basically, you know, like you do it. So at Inga Atelier, after refining and developing the product and everything, I needed someone to take my business to another level, who's a specialist. So I got in like Benjamin DeVoe, who is my product developer and everything, like admin in the business. So he's the one who runs the admin behind the business for a share. So you want to give away a piece of stake if you want some of these things done properly. And also, like, I want to mention this. I think let's stop being so obsessed about ownership. You know, we're very obsessed about ownership. I rather own 20% of 5 billion than own 100% of 50,000. You get what I'm saying? So you know, like, you be open-minded, you know, see what works for you, but let's stop being so obsessed about ownership. Thank you.
Hi, Inga. When they were asking if there's anyone with a question, I didn't think we were going to come to the front. So with the problems that we are facing as a country, and recently the youth unemployment being the one that was released, I just want to ask you, and I want to give a shout out to T as well for coming here and equipping us so that we can go impact our communities. I just want to ask you, is there anything that you are doing to try and help the problem of unemployment? And if you are, or if you're even thinking of it, how can you advise us as entrepreneurs? Because we can't go out there and hire everyone. What is it that we can do to impact our youth in our communities to also look at solving problems for themselves and stop looking at the state and politics and such things?
Yeah, so I've always been, thank you for the question. I've always been passionate about giving back, you know? And I'm a strong believer of lift while you rise. At Indalo, for instance, you know, I came up with a project, you know, where surprisingly, here in Mkanzi Street, we had like a project of about 30 students, you know, that I was teaching design and how to actually make products. The project ran for about 3 months, which was a great project. Unfortunately, I couldn't continue because I resigned, you know, like from Indalo, and it was the Indalo Deco property, so I couldn't take it any further. But currently what I'm doing is, I help out young brands with brand identity, with product development, with marketing, and building them get a specialist to build them like a website. And I fully fund that, you know, and I don't want anything in return. You know, I just want to see, you know, like a lot of people grow. It doesn't help to have one Inga. We need, you know, like a lot more Ingas, you know? And I don't see that as competition, you know? I see like as a growth in the country, you know? So, yeah, I don't want to see one David Lale, one Laduma, one Seppo. We need a lot more of those. That's what we need.
Fantastic. Right, our last question.
How are you, Inga?
Yeah, I'm good.
How are you, everyone? I actually had a similar question to what Tuputa Ibuzile manje, ne? But what I would like to ask further to that is that obviously you have more exposure with what's happening economically than most of us sitting here, right? Now, my question is, do you think that our government is doing enough as compared to other first world countries to get us out to the international market? You know, you'll have Chinese governments or whatever investing in countries all over, and then you'll actually go, if you've traveled, you'll know that you go to countries and you'll find an area Chinese based, but there is no South African. Like if you go to Paris, there is no area where you'd say this is a start point for South Africans to do business. You know, so what I wanted to ask is that if ever you were given an opportunity to change that, what would be the first thing that you'd introduce to that space? I don't know if you're understanding where.
What's the question?
The question is, given the opportunity to take your brand to Paris, right? What would be the most crucial thing you would do to make it more accessible to other upcoming brands?
Oh, okay. So basically, what I'll do is, like I said, you know, like I'm a strong believer of lifting as, you know, as I rise, you know. I don't wanna, I'm not gonna wait until I'm a billionaire before I can do that. I'm doing that now. It's the most important thing for me. So if when I open my store in Paris, let's say in Inga Atelier flagship, you know, like in Paris, I'm definitely opening maybe another store where it can house African brands, you know, like with a bit of African presence, because it's about time we take stuff out of Africa, out of South Africa to the other countries, in as much as the other countries are doing so. You know, we are the biggest consumers, but we're not the biggest, you know, starter of things. But we consume so much. I mean, like, look at Diamond Walk.
Yeah.
It's all French and Italian brands, not even a single South African brand in South Africa. Is that right to you?
No.
Can't be, right? So we need to make sure that we've got presence, you know, ourselves.
And then lastly, let's just pick me up now. With, I would say, the political dimension of our country, right? We are more of a, I wouldn't say third world country. And then you are providing more of a luxury brand, right? So what sort of strategy do you use to bridge the gap between to bridge your turnover against the political, like, we're not really a wealthy country to that extent. So you wouldn't be selling 15,000 rand clothing items this side. You understand? So what do you do to bridge that gap? Do you balance it out with different designs, prices, or?
No, you must remember what the brand stands for. You know, like we are luxury. You know, so the positioning of the brand is very important. You know, I mean, for instance, we had a store in Hyde Park Corner, probably one of the most exclusive malls in the country. We had to close it because of COVID, but now we've got a shared store with another designer in Sandton City. So it's about understanding what your brand stands for, and what is it, you know, like that it does. Who is the target audience? That is very important. For instance, I wouldn't take my brand and put it in the mall here in Midrand. You know, it's not the right target market. You know, it's very important to understand who is your target market. Where does it stay? Where do they spend their time? So it's like a lot of research and understanding what you do. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Are we still here? Thank you so much. Inga, last one, quickly. Young people, they're here, they've got products, they've got services, but they're struggling to commercialize. 2 practical things they can do daily to move from product to profit.
Whew, that transition, you made it sound so easy, eh? Product, profit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sales, let's say sales. Let's
Yeah,
just start
sales.
selling.
Yeah, I'd say, for instance, you need to invest a lot of your time in researching who is your customer, where is your customer. You know, if you can find where your customer is, you've hit the gold. You know, because it's never about the product being wrong. You know, it's about who is that product for, and where is that person. So, point I'm trying to make is, continue the search, you know, of finding who your audience is, and continue the search of finding where is your customer. That's the most important thing. And lastly, before I go, I have this message for you. So, after I've made the million, I lost it in 2017. Lost it completely. That's when I got funding from my friends to start Inga Atelier. And 2019, I made it back. You know why? If you've traveled the road, you won't get lost traveling it again. If you've done it before, you'll do it again.
Wow, thank you so much. Inga, on behalf of T, thank you so much, brother, for being with us today. I know, for sure, so many entrepreneurs here, not only were inspired, but you've empowered them. Thank you for sharing your journey. And yeah, we wish you all the best from South Africa to the world, man. Like when the brand is international, you can say, yeah, and we really do hope and do know that the brand will be international. And one day when they are walking in Paris, we'll be able to get your brand. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. We're going to ask that you please just take a photo just in front of the brand. Can we have our photographers? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Inga. Please, can we get